Welcome to the Alyssa Goodman Show. Every week, I have the honor of interviewing game changers in the wellness arena. And today I have Dr. Kristi Funk. She's a board-certified breast cancer surgeon, and she's written a book that came out last year in May 2008, a manual to everything you need to know about breast cancer. And she's also going into all kinds of other health arenas and what she's learned in all the research she did for this book. This book is amazing. I recommend it to all of my clients if you have cancer or don't have cancer. It's a wonderful guide. Welcome.
Thanks, Alyssa. It's so good to be here. We've been trying for so long.
I know we have for so long. Ever since I heard you talk when the book came out, I was like, oh, you took my breath away.
Oh,
Not too many people do that.
Oh,
yeah. So
I'm honored.
I loved, of course, your energy and, just your passion and compassion for what you do as a doctor, first and foremost, is off the charts. Incredible.
Oh, thank you.
I know you know a lot of doctors, and there isn't that as much.
I'm just so blessed to have found my passion in life. I really feel like it is the biggest privilege to come alongside a woman in a moment of a breast cancer diagnosis, which she perceives to be this life or death decision-making black box, and it is so frightening. And for her to invite me in to hold her hand and navigate her through all these difficult choices is the biggest honor of my life. That and being a mom to my 3 sons.
Right. I know. I can't believe you have 3 kids. That is like crazy in terms of what you do and the amount of energy you put out into the world. So, well, tell me a little bit. I know with the book, you did a lot of research. And there's a bunch of things that you've talked about for the last year. And a lot of you bust some myths in the cancer world and in the breast cancer world. And so what are some of those? Okay,
so absolutely. I bust so many myths that keep everybody like wearing bras that have no underwires and their breasts sagging and their cell phone 40 feet away and no deodorant. And while these may or may not contribute to, the sum totality of health, is kind of perhaps questionable, but when it comes to breasts, there's definitive yes and no's. And I really alleviate a lot of anxiety from these little things that most likely have nothing to do with breast cancer and keep them from paying attention to the things that are like boulders, tipping the scales definitely toward illness instead of health. Right. So let's bust a few myths and then let's talk about boulders.
Oh, okay.
Well,
okay.
So for example, the underwire in your bra, it doesn't matter. It doesn't conduct electromagnetic fields. It doesn't constrict lymphatic outflow. There are some smart theories, but they're incompatible with physiology. So sorry about that. You can wear whatever you want. Right. Same with deodorant. Again, smart theories. There can be poor plugging aluminum chlorohydrates. Maybe they're directly toxic. Maybe they act like estrogen mimickers inside your body.
Yeah.
Parabens, which aren't even really used in deodorant anymore, have been found inside breast tumors. What is all of this? Well, it's been looked at upside down and sideways, and really there is no scientific evidence whatsoever that deodorant causes breast cancer. Okay. So smell however you want, but don't worry about wearing your deodorant if you want to.
But you need to wear clean deodorant, right? Toxic-free, like still. No?
No.
It's not,
not when it comes to breast cancer.
Okay, got it. I love it. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the parts per million of toxicities that might get into your cell structure is just not enough to damage DNA. I wish it were that simple.
Yeah.
Oh, how I wish I could just say, you know what? Stop wearing this deodorant and you'll never get breast cancer. We found out all breast cancer is from parabens or whatever. It's just not true.
Okay.
It's bigger stuff. Changeable, completely under your control, but not as easy as just switching to a crystal stick, you know?
Right.
Cell phones, the electromagnetic fields, the ionizing radiation that causes DNA damage and mutations comes from 3 sources. UV rays, the sun.
Okay.
X-rays, all of those medical X-rays.
Right.
And gamma rays, like atomic bombs exploding. Yeah. It does not come from non-ionizing sources, which include your cell phone. So I don't even care if you tuck it in your bra. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Your cell phone strength would have to literally become 480,000 times more potent to change it from non-ionizing to ionizing.
Okay.
Microwaves. My dad used to tell me, get your head, your head's going to explode, you're going to get brain cancer. I still have to duck down. I still can't get over it because I was too young. Yeah, when I found that it was going to explode my head. But it's not true. Microwaves, televisions, radio,
so even heating
infrared,
heating
food up
in the microwave.
Now, don't heat your food up with a disgusting BPA-laden plastic thing dripping chemicals into your food mysteriously. But yeah, the microwave's fine. So cell phone, fine. power lines, the electromagnetic fields from power lines, which are largely diffused by cars and buildings and such, are also not powerful enough to create DNA breaks. The Earth's core is 250 times more the magnetic pull than a power line gives off. So if power lines could cause breast cancer, then the Earth's core would have us walking around as a total body transformation into walking cancer. So all of these things, including surgery, so putting in breast implants, they do not cause breast cancer. Now there is an association with this ALCL, it's a type of lymphoma that is thankfully 97.5% of the time cured literally by just getting rid of the implant. So it's not it's not an aggressive subtype of lymphoma, and it's not breast cancer. So so implants don't cause breast cancer. Reduction surgery or causing injury and trauma to your breast tissue doesn't lead to an increase in breast cancer. Birth control pills, they cause this teeny tiny 24% increase across all studies on average, a 24% increase in breast cancer while you're on the pill. And when you get off it over the next 10 years, the risk dissipates back to zero. But why do I call 24% tiny? I want to make this very smart point. 1 in 8 women gets breast cancer, right? Okay, that's a 12.5% lifetime risk pulled out across an entire lifetime. Right. That would include when you're 20, and there are very, very, very few 20-year-olds. In fact, how many? Between 20 and 30 years old, 1 in 1,587 20-somethings gets breast cancer. So when I say birth control pills might lead to a 24% increase, that sounds so high. But as a 20-something taking birth control, your 1 in 1,587, your
chances are smaller,
becomes 1.24 in 5. That's how, in 1,587, that's how that number translates. So statistics can be tortured to become terrifying if you want them to, or on the converse side, they can be made to be like, nah, that's not significant. And then to those of us who do think in stats, we're like, nah, that's very significant. Birth control pills, not significant. In vitro fertilization or Clomid or all these IV fertility medications that women take, believe it or not, actually in the most robust studies since 2012 all show protective effect.
Whoa, that is something I do not know. That is, I always thought that was just definitely a precursor.
You would think that this give you a hyperdose of estrogen would just But in point of fact, though, pregnancy and having a baby is very dependent on how old you are when you have a baby. So for those of us who have our first child at or after age 35, we have a 50% increase in breast cancer risk over that woman who never had a baby. And for those who have children in their early 20s, particularly the higher the number and the closer spaced together, they have a 40% decrease in breast cancer relative to that woman who never had a baby. Now, the increase in breast cancer, for your viewers who had their children like I did at age 40.
And I had mine after 35.
So for those who are worried there, that bump in risk really just pertains to the next decade. And because we know that cancer cells, before they're detected, literally existed in your breast around 8 years prior to existence. Really what the pregnancy has done is it just fed and fueled a little cancer that you were about to see anyway, maybe not for 15 years, and instead you see it in 8 years sooner because it was fed, but it was already there. Your pregnancy didn't cause it. And after that 10-year mark, you now have less breast cancer risk than the woman who never had a baby. So there we busted some myths.
I love it. Those are some things that I didn't know, you know, the in vitro stuff. And the cell phone I always thought was like a total no-no. So, and also, I mean, don't we all have microscopic cancer cells in our body?
We absolutely do. So, and what we have, hopefully, and what your life's work has lent its purpose to, is boosting immune system function. So yes, we make cancer cells, they go awry, little DNA. It's not, it is a cancer cell, but really what it is on a cellular level is just a mutated little DNA cell. And your immune system surveying the land for these mutations, and it either recognizes it and fixes it, or it throws it out. But when your immune system gets hit frequently and persistently, and it can't do its job, that rogue cell is allowed to proliferate, to multiply and divide and become the size of a little flake of salt, and then it becomes a raisin, and then it becomes a grape, and now it's detectable by your hand, by your mammogram, and you're like, oh, that wasn't there yesterday. Oh yeah, it was. It was there
for years.
A while ago. Yeah.
It takes a while for it to really actually grow and build into something.
It reaches a critical mass.
Yeah.
Right? So if every cell is dividing every 3 months, which is the average division rate of a cancer cell in women under 50, for 2 millimeters to become 4 millimeters, 3 months to become 8 millimeters, 6 months to become 16. Now we're detectable. So, but it rapidly progressed in that last year, whereas it took a decade to get to that size.
Right. Okay. Wow, that is so fascinating. I mean, because I feel like people are so scared that, you know, they don't know what to do about, like, the thought of even getting cancer or being preemptive about it. So, I mean, I do tell them we have toxins, we have cancer cells, microscopic ones. We have all this crap in our body.
Well, let's talk about boulders. So we were mentioning in the top of the show here that we've got these boulders that if you really have these on your scale, and they aren't budging, it does not matter what you think about deodorant. And frankly, it doesn't matter about things that I know do cause or tend to cause breast cancer. Things like emotional stress, environmental toxicities, phthalates in makeup, BPA in plastics, hormone replacement therapy. These are pebbles. They matter. They can tip the scale. But if you've got a boulder, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much BPA you're drinking out of a water bottle. It just doesn't. Because what are the boulders? I'm going to give you the 4. It's diet and nutrition, what you're putting in. What do you think your cells have at their disposal other than what you're actually chewing and swallowing?
And you want to speak a little bit on that diet nutrition topic? Because there's...
Yes, I do. I'd love to do a deep dive into that. I mean, it's my favorite
It's your favorite thing, I know.
Yeah,
the plant-based diet.
Plant-based diet, whole food plant-based diet. So I'm going to give you the 4s just so people, because I'm sure people are like, wait. So it's diet and nutrition. It's alcohol consumption. It's exercise, or the lack thereof, that's the danger. And being overweight or obese. Those are your 4 biggies, all right? So diet, nutrition. Okay, so this is so exciting to me because I always thought, you know, I eat well. I haven't had red meat since I was 10. When I do eat meat, it's chicken, turkey, fish, Mediterranean diet, right?
Exactly.
Did a deep dive into the literature when I was writing Breast, the Owner's Manual to just prove that I was right. Like, you know, this is the way you're supposed to eat. Eat the way I eat. Wow. Like, as my kids would say, mind blown. I had no idea how deep and thorough and accurate and proven true the nutritional science literature is when you really ferret through these hundreds of thousands of studies that exist. They exist. Do you know that in medical school I got, let me count them. Yep, counted 0 seconds of nutrition. None.
0. Okay.
Maybe the Krebs cycle, but that's not nutrition. That's how you make energy. So I got none of it. You have to realize then, as a doctor now, like fully immersed in my practice, busy as can be. Breast cancer is my focus, but all of breast disease. I got 15 minutes with a patient. Like, I'm just working as hard as I can. And when I go home, I haven't been trained to think that there's anything important per se about nutrition, which is ludicrous to me now, but that's how most doctors think. And I definitely thought for my entire career. And I will say I graduated from med school in 1996. Okay, so I've been a doctor, I don't know what that is, 22 years. And it's 23, I did add. So the point simply being, I'm not going to go home and look through nutritional journals looking for pearls of wisdom that I don't even think exist so that I can go back to work tomorrow and dispense them to my patients, for free, because there's no reimbursement for this. This doesn't pay the overhead. You can see how this just becomes
and you're also exhausted from seeing client after client. I mean, like, is that really a focus?
You're right.
You know,
I mean,
you're just like,
I'm just ready to unwind. You know what it is?
Have a glass of wine, and
I transitioned to mommyhood. I'm ready to just
with the 3 kids.
I'm running around. Like, I'm all in. I have a whole mantra that I can tell in another moment why I have it, but it's called one thing. One thing. You're doing one thing right now. Do it right.
That's beautiful.
Why would you do it wrong when you can do it right? Otherwise, you're just giving more than one thing, less than your best. I mean, that's fine if you're folding laundry and talking to your friend on the phone at the same time. But there are certain multitasking.
To be present.
Like when your kid says, "Hey, Mom," phone down, walk around the kitchen island, eye to eye. "What's up, babe?" "I'm here." And that's how I am at home. Deep dive into the nutritional literature, and what did I uncover except the absolute clear truth that the body's cellular response to the consumption of animal protein and animal fat is one and only one thing: detrimental to health. never building health. It skyrockets growth hormones, which is the big daddy of all growth factors that help cancers multiply and divide. Skyrockets estrogen levels. 80% of all breast cancers are fed and fueled by estrogen. Revs up the inflammation inside of your body, creates something called angiogenesis, the formation of new blood vessels that come to these sinister little cancer cells so that it can get the nutrients it needs, and then when it gets big enough, hey, look at that, escape route, poof, straight to your liver, your brain, your bone. This is serious.
Wow.
And most of all, it affects the immune system. We already talked about that.
Yes.
So the surveyor of the land of your cells gets such a hit from animal protein that it's like stunned in the moment. But if you hit it with every meal, meal after meal, which is what I was doing, I thought
most of us know how to do that.
I didn't even realize it. I mean, I thought about my meals and I was like, okay, so I'd have a healthy breakfast maybe with some oatmeal and berries, but what do I have in it? Maybe even a little half and half, and then, or non-fat Greek yogurt. Thought that was great. Then I had my lunch, big old green salad, salmon fillet, and a bunch of feta on top.
Right.
Dinner,
chicken, fish, something of that nature, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So every meal would be tainted, and I didn't realize it. So
you're getting a lot of grams of protein there.
Right.
Almost 100 or something like that.
The obsession with protein. And by the way, you know, all of our things that we eat for protein, cows, pigs, even big things that we don't necessarily eat, but an elephant, a rhinoceros, a rhino, I can't say rhinoceros, I can say herbivores. So don't tell me you can't get protein from plants. Okay, so there's...
You know, that's a disconnect for a lot of people. Not for me, but...
Of course it is, because because the animal industry, agriculture industry has so much money at stake, and their message points are clear.
Yeah.
And protein does a body good.
Right.
And where do you get protein? You get it from milk with a mustache smile, and you get it from beef patties, and it's just, it's ingrained in you to just knee-jerk protein animal products.
Right.
So we just need to knee-jerk it differently.
Exactly.
Right?
What about
protein
just
soy?
Little bit of animal protein? Like, does that, you know, I know you're 100% vegan now.
Right. So this is, I want my thought process to be readily applicable to anybody listening today.
Right.
So yeah, I'm the kind of person that literally, after 2.5 weeks of that dive into the nutritional literature, I walked downstairs, I opened the fridge, and I said, boys, so they were 8 at the time, I have triplets. Yeah. Boys, we're going vegan. And I'm looking at the fridge. They're like, yeah, what is that?
They had no idea.
No idea, but they're all in.
And have they been okay with this vegan route?
100% okay.
And they've been happy and healthy and energized.
Oh, you kidding? They're triathletes.
Whoa.
At 9 years old, I kid you not, my one son, Sebastian, rides his bike 22 miles an hour, 150 miles a week.
That's remarkable.
He's insane. And the other one runs a 7-minute, 20-mile. I mean, they're just, and then Justin's lazy, but he can do what he wants.
It has not done them a disservice to not eat animal protein.
And thankfully, the like ultra marathoners and the triathletes of the vegan world are really coming to the fore now and
speaking up about this.
Exactly. And showing you that, you know,
not
this muscle,
they can do that. They can build muscle, they can have strength and have immunity without, well, we didn't even touch on all the other things I wanted to talk to you about. I mean, 20 minutes goes so fast.
Oh my gosh.
So sad. We're going to have to do another one on the soy and the exercise.
I would love to.
Because that's so important too. But I ask all my guests at the end if they had to sum up their mission in one word, what would yours be?
Mindset.
Like a proper mindset, right? Like just
whatever you set your mind on, whatever you focus on, you will, whatever you think about affects how you feel. And whatever you're feeling in a moment will make you act. And whatever you're doing is your life. So it starts with your mind.
Kristi, thank you.